Hi everyone, Renata here, and in today's video we will be talking about what can be done, what can we do for ourselves if we recognized that there is some sort of self-sabotaging behavior that we are displaying in our relationships. So in the past two videos prior to this one, I was talking about common, usual types of behavior that a lot of us do in relationships, and how those behaviors can actually affect our relationships, not in a positive way. So if you watched those videos and you recognize some of them in yourself or in your partner, here's the video, which is part 3, where I'm going to mention some steps that you can take in order to shift these behaviors, in order to improve your relationships. And some of them can be a little bit uncomfortable, but sometimes that's necessary in order to shift something. Okay, normally we never do that from our comfort. Okay, so let's jump in and see what can we do for ourselves in order to improve our relationships. So sometimes we feel stuck in unhealthy relationships or self-sabotaging behaviors. We get so locked up in our own minds that we feel there is nothing we can do. And that's simply not true. There is so much we can do for ourselves and those relationships that we want to improve. And believe me, I understand it can be scary at times to really investigate what certain behaviors mean and where they come from. Self-awareness journey can be very uncomfortable for some, and because subconsciously we like comfort, we like routine, we like what's familiar, what's predictable, even when it's hurtful. Yet I want to assure you that you are not as fragile as you sometimes feel. You hold so much resources and wisdom within. You can figure things out when you really finally are ready to do so. So that brings me to point number 1, being aware of our own self-sabotaging behaviors in relationships. As we were discussing in part 1 and 2 of these video series, most of self-sabotaging behavior in relationships are often subconscious. That means we don't even know exactly why we are behaving the way we are. So in previous videos, I've shared examples of common and usual self-sabotaging behaviors in relationships. I will leave those links below in the description box so you can watch them if you haven't done so. If you watched them and started to notice or recognize some of these behaviors in yourself or your partner, I want you to realize that you've already taken a first step towards improving your relationships, which is awareness. And being aware means exactly that. We are taking an unconscious pattern and bringing it into our conscious awareness. This requires self-acceptance. And it could be a hard pill to swallow sometimes. Yet denying our own parts, unflattering as they are, will never help to change them. Good tip here is to understand that we can choose to look at ourselves with judging, shaming eyes, or curious, compassionate eyes instead. What do you think would be more helpful? So let's do a tiny exercise. I want you to imagine you are looking at your younger version of yourself. Imagine you're looking at yourself as a child who just really messed up. Not because the child is malicious, nasty being, but because they are learning and exploring something. Now, as you are today, are you looking at yourself as a child with curiosity and compassion, or with harsh judgment and blame? This will give you a clue about your own internal state and view of self. Choose to accept whatever comes up for this moment, as this will allow you to make an important decision. And this takes me to the next point. So number 2, being ready to make a shift. You see, we simply aren't ready until we choose to be ready. And in the meantime, we make all kinds of excuses. We blame others for their behavior, but cannot see or acknowledge our own part and take responsibility for it. We say we want to create healthier relationships, but, and here comes the but, we don't have time or money or help or support to heal past traumas that are influencing current relationships. We say we'll think about it later. We convince ourselves that we are beyond help, a lost cause. Other people can have beautiful relationships, but I can't. It's not available to me. Or that toxic, unhealthy relationships run in our family, and so on. I even heard people saying that it's genetic. But as a therapist, I want to assure you that your power of choice cannot be taken away by anyone or anything else. And at the same time, you are the only one who can make that decision to choose differently this time. If you were waiting for a sign, this is it. Listen to your inner quiet voice that's saying, it's your turn now. You can choose to commit to your healing and your personal growth, because in the long term, you will be the one to reap the benefits of doing the work, and your future relationships and people you connect with will thank you for it. So once you decide that you are ready, here comes the third stage. So number 3, that's a biggie. Taking responsibility for the role you play. So as I said before, taking responsibility for our own thoughts, beliefs, actions, and behavior can be uncomfortable to start with, but it's so liberating in the long term. Once you learn to do this for ourselves, we will be able to hold others accountable in more fairness too. As this saying goes, we are not responsible for what happened to us when we were little, when we were a dependent child. But as adults, we are responsible for our own healing, so we can stop bleeding on those who didn't cut us. And we can free ourselves from a belief that someone has to save us, which is a quite an unhealthy and codependent belief in itself. So once you're ready and aware of certain subconscious patterns driving your behavior, you may need to reach out to a professional who can help you with figuring things out, showing you the role that you may be playing and why. I always say that part of my work with clients resembles a detective work, which helps them to view the subconscious role they are playing from a different perspective, therefore gives them an opportunity to make different choices. For most of us, it's difficult, or it takes quite a long time to do it alone because all root causes are held in our subconscious. Here, keep in mind that there is difference between waiting for somebody to save us, even when that savior is in the role of a therapist, and asking for help. So here is the difference. Nobody can do the work for you. So even if you ask for help from a professional or otherwise, you will still be doing the work yourself. Okay, you may need guidance, you may need some sort of way to see your situation in a different perspective, that someone else can help you do that. But again, the work that you do in changing and shifting your own behavior is actually you. It's not somebody else that is going to come and do something for you and you will suddenly change. That's not how it works. And if somebody tells you that they can do that for you, again, that's codependency. That's a relationship where you are staying in that dependent victim role, that somebody else needs to come and do something for you. And that's not the way, that's not a place where you actually grow as an individual. Okay, so just wanted to make sure that you understand the difference here. So it's also useful to read or watch content about some roles we take in a family setting and dynamics when we are growing up, because those relationships will impact our adult relationships. So as children, we take on these roles so we can receive attention and feel accepted to ensure our survival. The most common one is being often ill. Then we have a carer, we have achiever, we have rebel. So these become more solid over time and we take them into our adulthood. Also, I recommend to study the attachment style theory to understand how you are connecting with others. Taking all of that in, please keep in mind that nothing is carved in stone. Old roles can be replaced with new, more relevant ones. The same with attachment styles. You can absolutely change them. I see so many people sticking a label on themselves as if this is a verdict for the rest of their lives. Then they start identifying with the label and labeling others, saying things like, I'm anxious avoidant and my partner is fearful disorganized. And that's not helpful. We are more than labels, and by labeling, we are limiting ourselves and others. So this takes me to the last and very important point. So number 4, there is nothing wrong with you. Recognize this. There is nothing wrong with you at your essence, at your core. You may have patterns you need to unlearn or transform into better, healthier ones. You may need to release and heal trauma, emotional pain that is still lurking in your subconscious and nervous system. You might need to learn and then embody new behaviors, also known as new role, new patterns. It takes intention, action, and a bit of time. And that dream relationship that seems out of reach right now can become so right in front of you, so available and so familiar. It has your name written all over it. So from my practice and working with women of all ages, I can share that I find most of those self-sabotaging behaviors in relationships have a root in deep loneliness, fear of abandonment, insecurities, low self-esteem and self-worth, and lack of confidence. So it's important to do the work around these issues. The good news is that we are not born with these issues. These are inherited or learned or caused by certain traumas or just accepted as conditioning and programming that we receive from other people around us when we were younger. Therefore, it means they can be unlearned, they can be healed, even if they are generational. This outdated conditioning can be changed. And if you are watching this video, you are either on your healing journey already, or you are just gathering enough courage to step into it. And I'm here to say, I am so proud of you. Do you know the saying, trouble never walks alone? Meaning when one unfortunate thing happens, others start rolling in as well. Well, it's the same with healing. Once you heal or transform one deep root, it will have a ripple effect and make other branches healthier, stronger, and much more connected. That means when you heal such issues as fear of abandonment or low self-worth, you will become healthier and much better connected to yourself and therefore others, allowing you to co-create healthier, safer, and more joyful relationships. So I hope this video brings you hope that there is a lot of things that we can do for ourselves in order to shift and heal certain behaviors that aren't helpful right now in our relationships. And if you find it helpful, please like, please share, please subscribe, and please let me know in the comments if you have any questions or you have any comments so I can have a look at those and see what's relevant for you. And I can address it in my future videos. Okay? So thank you again for watching. Hope this brings value, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.